The
Wow.
coaching thing is interesting because Draisaitl made comments before the Olympic break about how we're not as good and this and that. We've heard the coaching thing a couple of times, and as exhausted as he might be. So you go to the Olympics and you watch Cooper and you're around him every day for a couple of weeks and see the way he handles business and the way things are done. It's like,
It can't be nothing because they bring in Coffey to try and fix it.
And I don't think Paul Coffey wanted to come back. He was there. They went to a cup final. He's like, nah.
It's rinky-dink management up there. How many coaching changes did they have? None of them were high-end, highly sought after. Isn't McDavid's old agent part of the...
Oh, yeah, and Knoblauch was his junior coach.
Like exactly. Some of this, all of this is to cater to Connor, but maybe Connor doesn't want to be catered to. Maybe Connor just wants to win. So how about we go and get the best? I don't know the situation, but if Connor has created the issue by making these requests, not shame on him, but that's the bed you have to lay in. If they've overthought this and tried to cater to what they assume are his...
When Connor McDavid speaks, the entire hockey world listens. That's exactly why his recent comments after the Edmonton Oilers' loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning created such a massive reaction across the NHL. What seemed like simple praise for Tampa Bay head coach John, Cooper quickly turned into one of the biggest talking points surrounding the Oilers. Following a disappointing 5-2 loss, McDavid spoke highly of the Lightning and their coaching staff. He described Tampa Bay as a team that looked perfectly organized, extremely well coached, and completely prepared in every situation. While there is nothing unusual about complimenting a great opponent, the timing of those comments immediately caught everyone's attention. The Oilers were struggling. Frustration was building. Expectations remained sky high. And suddenly the captain of the team was publicly praising another coach while his own team was searching for answers. Naturally, many fans and analysts began asking the same question. Was Connor McDavid sending a message? McDavid specifically pointed to how organized the Lightning appeared throughout the game. He talked about how every player seemed to know exactly where to be on the ice. Their structure looked polished. Their execution looked sharp. Most importantly, they played with confidence because they trusted the system around them. Those comments stood out because they indirectly highlighted areas where the Oilers had been inconsistent throughout the season. The situation became even more interesting because John Cooper is not just any coach. Cooper recently worked with McDavid while coaching Team Canada on the international stage. The two shared success together, and McDavid has experienced firsthand what it feels like to play under Cooper's leadership. That relationship added another layer to the conversation. Was McDavid simply respecting a coach he admires, or was there something deeper behind the words? Many observers believe McDavid carefully chooses every word he says. As one of the most recognizable players in hockey, he understands that every statement will be analyzed. That's why some people found it difficult to believe that these comments were completely random. The praise was detailed, repeated multiple times, and delivered immediately after a frustrating loss. To some, it sounded like more than just admiration. The timing also connected with earlier comments made by Leon Draisaitl. Before this controversy emerged, Draisaitl openly acknowledged that the Oilers were not performing at the same level as previous seasons. He suggested that improvement needed to come from everyone involved and emphasized that accountability starts at the top. Those remarks already placed attention on the coaching staff. Then, McDavid's praise of Cooper arrived shortly afterward, creating a narrative that many people could not ignore. For head coach Kris Knoblauch, the situation was complicated. Coaching a team led by superstars like McDavid and Draisaitl comes with incredible advantages, but it also creates unique challenges. Expectations are enormous. Every decision is examined. Every loss becomes a story. When the captain publicly praises another team's coaching structure, even if unintentionally, questions are bound to follow. What's important to understand is that Knoblauch had already achieved significant success with Edmonton. Under his leadership, the Oilers became one of the NHL's strongest contenders and reached the Stanley Cup final in consecutive seasons. He earned respect throughout the league for helping guide the team through difficult situations and maximizing the talent on the roster. However, hockey is a results-driven business. Success in the past does not protect anyone from criticism in the present. During this stretch, Edmonton was dealing with inconsistency defensive problems and concerns about overall team structure. The team's goaltending numbers were among the worst in the league, putting additional pressure on every aspect of the organization. Some analysts pointed to a larger issue. Despite McDavid's incredible offensive production, questions remained about how the team was being deployed and whether certain strategic adjustments were necessary. There were debates about matchups, defensive responsibilities, and how much burden was being placed on the team's biggest stars. These discussions had already been taking place before McDavid's comments added fuel to the fire. As speculation continued to grow, McDavid eventually addressed the controversy directly. He made it clear that his comments were never intended as criticism of Knoblauch or the Oilers coaching staff. According to McDavid, he was simply complimenting a strong opponent that played an excellent game. He stressed that everyone within the organization, including himself, needed to be better. He also acknowledged that he understood why people interpreted the comments differently, but insisted that was never his intention. That clarification helped calm some of the discussion, but it did not completely eliminate the larger questions surrounding Edmonton. Even if McDavid was not criticizing his coach, the fact remains that he highlighted qualities many observers believe the Oilers were lacking at that moment. Organization, structure, consistency, and preparation are all characteristics associated with championship teams. When those qualities become a topic of conversation after a loss, people naturally begin evaluating whether your own team is meeting those standards. What makes this story fascinating is that it reveals the enormous pressure facing elite teams. For most organizations, a playoff position would be considered a successful season. For the Oilers, anything short of competing for the Stanley Cup is viewed as disappointment. That standard exists because of the talent on the roster and because of the expectations created over several years of contention. McDavid's leadership style has evolved significantly throughout his career. Early in his NHL journey, he was known primarily for his unbelievable skill. Today, he is also recognized as one of the league's strongest leaders. Teammates respect him. Coaches trust him. Fans follow his every move. When someone with that level of influence speaks publicly, even simple observations can create major headlines. The reaction to these comments demonstrates how closely every aspect of a championship contender is examined. A few sentences during a post-game interview became a national discussion about leadership, coaching, accountability, and team culture. That is the reality of playing in a hockey market where expectations are constantly sky high. In the end, the most likely explanation may also be the simplest one. Connor McDavid saw a great hockey team execute at an elite level and decided to acknowledge it. Tampa Bay's structure impressed him. John Cooper's system impressed him. The Lightning earned that praise through their performance on the ice. At the same time, the comments unintentionally shined a spotlight on Edmonton's own challenges and raised important questions about how the Oilers could improve moving forward. Whether fans viewed the remarks as a message, a criticism, or simply a compliment, one thing became clear. The Oilers knew they needed to be better. Their captain knew it. Their coaching staff knew it. Their fans knew it. And as the pressure of the season continued to build, every game became another opportunity to prove that this talented roster could still reach the championship level everyone expected. The debate may have started with a few comments about John Cooper, but the bigger story was always about the Edmonton Oilers. Could they find the consistency they were searching for? Could they play with the structure and confidence that championship teams display? And could they turn frustration into motivation before it was too late? Those questions would ultimately define their season far more than any post-game interview ever could.